right, Unit 2, Module 4, folk music and folk rock. Basically, the youth in the 1960s, there's a lot of things going on politically and socially at that time. The 60s were pretty much the administrations were dominated by liberal, by democratic administrations. Social issues like racial integration, civil rights were in the mind of politicians. In 1965, major civil rights legislation was passed, and many youth tried to work on bigger problems, such as if they were against the Vietnam War, those opposed to draft fled to Canada, burned their draft cards, went underground. Peace brother, peace sister is a catchphrase going on. And they were successful in some things and successful, not successful in other things. Also, the importance of the youth was ecology, the population of the earth, expansion of natural resources. Some were suspicious of technology. And also there's this move to fascination of getting to know oneself. It's kind of like the Zen Buddhism, meditation, and also a lot of drugs such as LSD and marijuana and cocaine are used in this movement as well by folks. Not everybody, but of course there are ones that definitely have used use drugs. Also, some of the heroes become anti-heroes. Joe Namath, Muhammad Ali are kind of examples of this. Rock and roll groups were physically unattractive, drug abusing, a lot of times womanizing. Bad boys images were accepted in there. Skirts were short and above the knee and so forth. And commune living was going on. And in a lot of ways, the 60s are turbulent, troublesome, exciting, and tragic, and revolutionary in a lot of ways. A lot was lost, and a lot was gained. And a lot of that, I think, has to do with probably the big event that happened, the pivotal event that happened in that time was when John F. Kennedy was assassinated in '63. After that, art changes, movies change, the cowboy movies change. Instead of being just the regular guy, the good and bad, now it's basically, there's a lot of gray. There's somebody that could be good, there's someone that's bad, that's the good guy now. And same thing goes on in music as well. There's a lot of things questioning going on. Well, Bob Dylan, when we talk about folk music, we definitely have to talk about Bob Dylan. He was born Robert Zimmerman, Duluth, Minnesota, 1941. Hank Williams, Muddy Waters, Little Richard. He listened to rock and roll when he was young, and he loved Woody Guthrie. And he basically made his way out to New York to go see his mentor in person and meet him. His distinct voice, his poetic and provocative lyrics helped transport both musically and politically the world in the 1960s. Albums such as Free Willin' put him in ranks as the number one of the folk revival musicians. And then later albums like Highway 61 Revisited showed that he was able to integrate several musical genres in the forefront of this folk rock scene going on. Basically, if we look at a song, and there's a bunch of songs of Bob Dylan, I'm sure you can find all of them online if you don't already have them in CDs and whatnot. Blowin' in the Wind, if you go through there and read the lyrics along with that, you can hear, you can hear the song in some type of a Greenwich Village coffee house. And what's the song about? What does it have to say? Does it still have meaning today if you read through the lyrics of Blowin' in the Wind? Subterranean and Homesick Blues, and in there, what's going on in that example. You can probably find that famous film that he did with that song there, and that famous video that has influence on it. Even videos to this day, you still see folks holding up signs and whatnot there with lyrics in there. And basically, we got the progressive movements going on with John F. Kennedy, the sit-ins going on, the civil rights movement going on. Student political activism is going on. There's a free speech movement in Berkeley. The protest song has been around. And if we go back to the Civil War era and the abolitionists and also the temperance songs, the folks that were against alcohol were going on. Protest songs for workers have been there. And someone like Woody Guthrie, who was born in Oklahoma, and was still known as the Indian Territory. In the 30s, he moves to New York City and becomes a member of the People's Song Group and composes songs about ordinary folks. And one of the quotes from Woody Guthrie is, "I don't sing any songs about the 9 divorces of some millionaire play gal or the 10 wives of some screwball. I sing the songs of people that do all the little jobs and the mean, dirty, hard work in the world, and their wants and their hopes and their plans for a decent life. And yeah, that's true in a lot of ways. So listen to "This Land Is Your Land" by Woody Guthrie. See what you think about it. What's the song about? In a lot of ways, he did that as a response to Herbert Midgley's "God Bless America," which he thought was an elitist song. He wanted the song to be "This land is your land, my land, from California to New York Island." That's what he was singing in his music there. One of my favorite songs from Bob Dylan is "A Hard Rain's Gonna Fall." It's a longer song, and you're probably used to hearing songs a lot shorter than that. But listen to the whole song. Follow the lyrics along with it. What does the song have to mean to you? What does it mean? Does the song need to be long? Does it work this way? Is this a song that you're going to dance to? Probably not. What's the song for then? It's a song to think to, right? So listen to "A Hard Rain's Gonna Fall." It's a great song. Don't Think Twice, It's All Right. Kind of foreshadows of popular music from the later 60s as well. It's not for teenagers. It's more adult expression. It's more personal, complex, introspective in a lot of ways. And in some ways, you got to live a little life to be able to understand some of these songs that come out. What's going on there? And as time goes on, there's like some dissolution going on in these progressive movements. After John F. Kennedy's assassinated, and here's Dylan has a statement here. I agree that everything that's happening, but I'm not a part of no movement. If I was, I wouldn't be able to do anything else but be in the movement. I just can't sit around and people make rules for me. Out of those records I've already made. And that's one thing I think people thought that Bob Dylan and Joan Baez would go hang out at these rallies. Joan Baez did. And they would come, "Where's Bob?" "Well, don't you get it? Bob doesn't come out to these things. He doesn't do these things. She does. But he didn't do that. Like Rolling Stone, in 1965, Bob Dylan goes to the Newport Folk Festival. And it was a festival that all these folkies got together, the ones that hated rock and roll music, and they were there for folk music, loved folk music. And Bob Dylan comes out there with all this amplification and does this folk rock, and he gets booed. They're like, "What's going on? What's on? I hate this. If you're a folkie, you hate this music. Make it stop. Make it stop." And so he does a couple of folk songs afterwards with that. But if you listen to like a Rolling Stone, does the rock music make that song better? Does it detract from the folk music, or is it worse because of it? Listen to it and see what you think. Mr. Tambourine Man is another one that you can listen to. And listen to the Byrds cover of it. How does it change from Bob Dylan's original one to the cover that the Byrds did of Mr. Tambourine Man? And in a lot of ways, you can hear that jingle jingle on the chorus, that 12-string Rickenbacker electric guitar, that just is incredible sound. So the Byrds, check out the Byrds, another great band, and this is folk rock. And Turn's another great song by them. That's what do those lyrics have to do? What does this mean? So traditional political comment and protest songs from this folk revival goes over this folk rock. So now you can say what you want to say and say it with a rockin' beat. You're not just restricted to only acoustic instruments. You can play electric guitar and still say something that's valid. And that was the major epiphany that I think these musicians had at this time here. The Mamas and the Papas, another band to check out. California Dreamin, Monday, another one. How are these songs different than Bob Dylan? How are they similar? Check those out. Simon and Garfunkel, The Silence of Silence, Mrs. Robinson. Is this folk? Is this rock? Is it a combination of both? Is it pop sounding on there? Check that out and see what you think about that. Bridge Over Troubled Waters. And of course, there's a lot of other folk rockers. Joan Baez, We Shall Overcome, probably a big one. Sonny and Cher, I Got You, Babe. I threw that there as one that you found. Buffalo Springfield. For What It's Worth is probably a good one, a good example. Donovan, Mellow Yellow is one that pops in mind as good examples of this folk rock music. So basically, the thing about folk rock music, and the thing that we have Bob Dylan to thank for, is that we can now sing songs in rock and roll that mean talk about any subject matter they would want with a rockin' beat, and still have a great time with it. And this rock and roll music means something. Rock and roll.